Were there any heavenly restricted users like Maki or Toji back in the Heian era with Sukuna? Let's talk about it. All right, so no, I don't think Sukuna has ever run into anyone like Maki or Toji. I think they are anomalies in the world. Now, yes, heavenly restrictions exist in many different forms, like Mekamaru or like somebody that maybe has a very small amount of cursed energy, but I don't think Sukuna ever ran into anybody that had absolutely zero like these two do. And that's because of how Sukuna interacts with Maki at the end of the series. The narrator points out that Maki doesn't have any cursed energy and that this reality brought Sukuna to ecstasy. Your very existence denies what it means to be a sorcerer. We then see that he's feeling all types of ways about this and is absolutely elated that their fight will get to prove what's better, pursuing sorcery or pursuing the body. He says, "You're the only one who's ever forced a role on me. This is a first." And so what this tells us is that Sukuna has clearly not met anyone like Maki before, and that's why he's so excited, because it presents this opportunity to test his life's work, his path of choosing to pursue sorcery against its antithesis. Now, does this mean that Toji was the first person like this to ever exist? Maybe. It's really impossible to say. Just because Sukuna had never run into one doesn't mean there weren't others before him. Now, I want to give a big shout out to Justin today, who asked me about this. And as you can see here, part of the reason he asked is because he was wondering why Sukuna created his domain expansion to target things without cursed energy. He was wondering if maybe he had run into a heavenly restricted user in the past. So no, I don't think so. And I think really the reason he did that is probably tied to his fire arrow, because we know that the binding vow he made to use that in conjunction with his domain needed the most explosive particles as possible in the air, right? And if you're just slicing up people, sure, if there's a lot of people, that's going to make a lot, but really to get the most out of that, you're going to want the most debris possible. So I would imagine that was probably the initial reason for why he specifically targeted things without cursed energy. And then finally, while we're on the subject of Heian era Sukuna, Jamal asked me, since Sukuna was so strong back in the Heian era, what criteria or abilities do you think a person would have to even stand a chance against him? And I don't know, man. I honestly don't really think anything. Like maybe the Six Eyes and the Limitless would be able to put up a good fight against them, assuming they were on a talent level equal to Gojo. But, most I would say weren't. And, even the Ten Shadows, I don't think is going to get it done, because we know he can deal with Maharaga. Even if he doesn't know what Maharaga is capable of, the way his fire arrow works is going to be a one-hit kill. So even if Maharaga becomes immune to everything else Sukuna can do, he would presumably be able to pull that out and deal with it. And other than that, there's nothing else in the series that we've seen that is of his caliber. He stands atop the world for a reason. So I really don't think there's any criteria I could list that would give somebody a chance against him. Again, other than the Six Eyes and the Limitless and a talent level equal to Gojo's.